Hey everyone, check out our new paperweight. Look at it, it's nice and sturdy, all colorful, a bit suggestive, but otherwise it seems to work. Get your own for only like $2.99 a piece. Welcome back everyone to our review of Loki, titled
Chaos Control!
And oh man, what a week it's been since the first episode. I shit you not. I was so careful to stay off YouTube. Like, I stayed off YouTube, I stayed off Facebook, and when I finally got back on after watching the episode, literally every other post was a meme for the show. And some of them have been absolute gold. My favorite meme has been one of Steve Rogers running past Sam Wilson. And he
on
uses,
your left.
Yeah, and he uses the thing to, like, make him go back. And he's like, dude, stop. It's like, take that. Other than that, though, I've had some time to think about, Loki and stuff. And I know we said we didn't have a lot to say about it last time, because honestly, upon first viewing, it felt like, oh, we're watching a guy go through the DMV, then watching him have therapy, and then watching a clip show. And, oh, surprise, the bad guy might be another version of him. Like, that didn't really feel like much. I felt like we disrespected a bit of the premise. I don't know, probably because we're so jaded from having watched so many, like, time-related shows and movies that this just doesn't feel all that special. It's still trying, though. It still is good, don't get us wrong. I very much am enjoying it, despite the hideous atmosphere and weird music and overall, feel of it so far. But hopefully episode number 2 will be even better and probably draw us in a lot more. And today's episode is titled
The Variant.
Kind of redundant since we know Loki is the variant, but I'm guessing maybe the bad guy or his other version is too.
I'm hoping our AU Loki winds up being Matt Damon. Just so, we have a return of Matt Damon to the MCU, and we have a crossover with the View Askew-verse, given that Stan Lee is reading Mallrats in the Captain Marvel film, so it would just be so appropriate.
Kevin Smith films and MCU films in the same universe? What is this, a crossover?
Doggy, what now? Loki, what now?
Honestly, I totally buy that they would be in the same universe with all the weird-ass shit that happens in Kevin Smith's films. Also, it's funny that you mentioned, like, different celebrity playing Loki, because I've already seen people theorizing out there that we might actually get just that, because people have looked ahead on the cast list, and there are certain actors listed, but they don't say who they are. Now, it's very possible they're just, future characters that we meet later, but some are theorizing that Loki might do his whole form-changing thing, and then he might take on the form of, like, different people, possibly different genders, and so on and so forth, add to that whole gender fluidity that he is now. I don't know why people are throwing a big stink about that, because if you look on his paperwork, like, they have him listed as gender fluid, which, based on the comics and the mythology, is canon. Because he does go between being a man and a woman. In fact, there's a famous myth where he ends up getting fucked by a horse as a female horse, and he gets pregnant and gives birth to an 8-legged horse. So, that is in the legit myth. I dare you to look that up. But anyway, I doubt we'll be seeing that in this film. That would be rather rather raunchy and kinky, I think, if they did that. So I guess going in, the only theory I have so far is that, we know he's gonna work for the TVA. He's gonna probably face his alternate self, and we're gonna find out what the fuck his alternate self wants to do. Because as far as we know, he's just been going around killing agents. There's no real sign of, like, what it is that he wants. Probably revenge or something. Any inputs you have?
Again, too early to tell. We don't even know. We don't even know.
Anywho, let's get started, shall we? Let's do this ourselves. Play.
Use your paperweight.
Play. Come on,
Fine.
do math. Previously on Rocky and Bullwinkle. I keep wanting to call them the Watchers, because that's what they sound like.
I think the Watchers are something different.
I know they are.
Yeah.
Infinity Stones. So the guy's using his paperweight.
I still can't fucking believe that. Way to make, like, everyone else's efforts to, like, get those things to either save or destroy everything meaningless.
You're completely useless now!
But they're not wet.
How do you know?
Good point.
How do you know they weren't wet when they came in?
Ew.
Not like that. Get your mind out of the gutter. They all float.
I do gotta wonder how many motherfuckers have, like, had the nerve to actually come to the TVA with those stones thinking they could do something with it.
Probably each and every one of them.
I wonder if they have so many. Although I noticed they don't have the soul stone in there. So I'm guessing nobody's ever been successful in, like, getting it without, you know, obviously making the sacrifice. We're in medieval times.
Oshkosh Bagosh? Well, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So it's a Ren Fair. An 80s Ren Fair.
Let's just merge all of the random ass, like, things into one setting. At least it's unexpected, I'll give them that. I think as timekeepers, they'd know to, like, disguise with their surroundings. Seriously, they're being way too conspicuous.
The trap, watch your back.
I got trap.
So we've come to medieval times dinner and tournament.
That's what I said. Uh-oh. Mind stone powers. What the fuck? I am very confused by this music choice. She's being brainwashed, is attacking her fellow soldiers, and they're playing the song I Need a Hero. Oh, look at that. He's been impaled. Oh, great. You left your tech behind. This was bound to happen sooner or later. I think they'd arrange it so that the tech would either disappear or explode or something after the person dies. So it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Yeah, what was up with that music choice? That was fucking weird.
I guess it was what they programmed into the show.
What, did they already buy the rights and then, like, they couldn't change their mind? What the fuck?
Let's review what we've learned. Come on, Loki. What is
She's three-dimensional.
It's when the TVA can no longer reset the Nexus event.
And that would lead to the destruction of the timeline and the collapse of reality as we know it.
Gee, I wonder if this will play into the future.
Are you recording or are you alive?
So he has his own cubicle now. Suit up.
Put it on.
Feels like a park ranger.
Smart.
It's like he has the pop collar.
C-20 and her team went dark shortly after they jumped into the 1985 branch, but which kind of Loki remains unknown.
They're the lesser kind, to be clear.
That's...
Let me see the back of that jacket.
Nah.
Very subtle. Well done.
I don't want anybody out there to forget what you are.
Oh, your only hope of capturing a murderer.
No, a cosmic mistake.
Lovely.
Here's the deal. A type we should all be very familiar with because the TVA has pruned a lot of these guys, almost more than any other variant.
What?
And no two are alike. Slight differences in appearances, or so slight. Different powers, although powers generally
Thick
include
Loki.
shape-shifting, illusion, projection.
Loki, how many times have you fucked up the time stream?
Projection.
Whereas duplication casting entails recreating an exact facsimile of one's own body in its present circumstance, which acts as a true
Nerd!
destructive. But you already knew that.
We're going to break into two teams, including myself and Professor Loki.
Why? Do I get a weapon?
Aren't you special?
I'll have my magic back. Is no one concerned about that? For what? An audience with the timekeepers on the table. Keep that focus.
I still say he's gonna try to run for it. Because that's how a Loki do.
Why don't we just travel back to before the attack, when the variant first arrives?
Nexus events destabilize the time flow. This branch is still changing and growing, so you gotta show up in real time. Did you watch any of the training videos you were supposed to?
Fixed point in time, man.
As many
Come
as
on.
I could stand, the TVA propaganda is exhausting. Reset charges prune the effective radius of a branched timeline, allowing time to heal all its wounds. Which, by the way, sounds like a nice way of saying disintegrate everything in its vicinity.
It's like watching a kid go through high school.
I watch the videos. I see a scheme.
A Coco
And in that
Maybe
I
scheme?
see myself. My teeth were sharp, but my ears even sharper.
We're running out of time.
So
Loki.
he's sharper than
Hold
the
it.
Sharpies.
Chance.
He knows that I'm stronger than him.
Almost one unit.
And he rightly believes that together we can overthrow and rule the TVA. But that's not what I want. I have a new
I feel like I'm watching Sherlock.
I'm a servant of the sacred timeline. I can...
But Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange.
But I need...
We're ready to have 2 Sherlock actors in this universe, so...
I will need to speak to the timekeepers at once. They're in graver danger than we realized.
Oh, you fucker.
He's lying.
Yeah.
Just playing games. There's no one out there. Yeah, me for a second. My ears are sharp, too.
Maybe we'd pull something.
Job security.
Good to know the workers mean so little to the TVA, they can just wipe their bodies out of existence with not a care in the world.
Is it just me, or does this office keep getting better and better?
Just
Where'd you
me, or
get
does
that
this
one,
music
the
keep getting
snow
shittier and shittier?
Mobius.
What? Those rings are already there.
And they're all from you.
Your other.
Look, I know you have a soft spot for broken things.
I don't think so.
Yes, you do, because Loki is an evil, lying scourge. That is the part he plays on the
How
sacred
cute
timeline.
Mobius is trying to change him.
Don't you get tired of playing this?
He's a dark-brooding edgelord, but I can change him.
And then it shall be so.
I don't remember this. This must be from that analyst you keep on the side.
Stay focused.
What did that say?
I couldn't read it. I was trying.
Mobius.
Luckily, he believes in himself enough for the both of us. And hey, if it doesn't work, I'll delete him myself.
Sure you will.
You're probably wondering what happened out on the mission. That was your first lesson in catching a Loki. Expect the expected. You see, half the fun of being a trickster is knowing everyone knows you're a trickster, and then many of your tricks can come from exploiting the fact that you know that they know. You know,
Just shut up. Please care what makes you tick. You're here to help me catch the superior version of yourself. That's it.
I'm not sure superior is actually one right.
There it is. Right there.
I love his inferiority complex even when it comes to himself.
Very nice.
Perhaps a imposter syndrome?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I've been playing a game of my own all along.
Sure you have.
What? Charm your way in front of the timekeepers, hustle them, and seize control of the TVA? I'll give you 2 options, and you can believe whichever one you want. A, because I see a scared little boy shivering in the cold, and you kind of feel bad for that ice runt. Or B,
Ooh.
I just want to catch this guy, and I'll tell you whatever I need to tell you.
Someone did bring up, why doesn't he turn back into a frost giant if magic doesn't work on it in the TVA?
What is my desperate last chance required? Work.
Perhaps somebody is lying in terms of Loki's backstory.
But I mean, we know he's immune to, the frost giant's touch. We know Odin himself verified his lineage, so... I don't know. Maybe it's a weird...
I need to go
magical
over each
thing?
and every one of the variance case files, and then, who knows, maybe there's something that we missed.
Well, you're idiots. I suspect you probably missed a lot.
That's why I'm lucky I got you. Here's a good trick for you. Pretend your life depends on it. I'm gonna get a snack.
I mean, it kinda does. I imagine they'd blink him out of existence if he fucked around too much. Quiet! This is a library! No talking!
Trying to study!
No talking in the library! Shush yourself.
She's Belle
Can I
operator.
help you?
Yes, I'm on some important TVA business. The red line near the apex, and well, it's never good.
Technobabble.
I'd like all files pertaining to the creation of the TVA. Okay, I'd like all files pertaining to the beginning of time then.
Those are classified.
To the end of time.
Those are
Okay,
classified.
what files can I have?
Happy reading.
Of course. Destruction of Asgard. I mean, he did have a hand in that, so yeah. It says it says all of the citizens were destroyed though, so maybe this is a worser form of Ragnarok? Even himself.
I'm guessing in an alternate timeline, he caused Ragnarok directly.
This is what happened in the myth, honestly. Him and his 3 children.
On the timeline. Ragnarok. Are you familiar?
Yes, the destruction of Asgard and most of its people. I'm sorry.
Yes. Very sad. Go ahead.
Got over that real quick.
Nexus events. So, let's just say your salad is Asgard.
No,
It's
it's not Asgard.
It's
That's my
a
lunch.
Just hang in there.
I want that salad.
Go down to Asgard, push the Hulk off the Rainbow Bridge. There he goes.
The salt's whole.
And I could also set fire to the palace.
No, just stop. Don't set fire to the palace.
I can do
Stop
whatever
salting the salad.
and it would never matter. It wouldn't go
Oh,
against
God.
the rules of the timeline because
Ah,
Oh, God.
we get your point, dude.
You again!
I just need this for a second. Surtur will destroy Asgard no matter what I do.
Serta, that was...
There's the apocalypse.
That's the apocalypse.
Ragnarok obliterates the salt. Ragnarok.
Oh, God.
Take me to a real apocalypse. Take me to Ragnarok, I'll show you.
Yeah, so you can run away back to your homeland?
No, we're not going home. We could go anywhere. Mobius, come on. What could possibly go wrong? We got to properly test this
Everything?
thing.
Never say that.
You lure me out to the field and then you stab me in the back. And that's a theory I don't want to test.
I'm never stabbing her in the back. That's such a boring form of betrayal.
Of your entire life, you've literally stabbed people in the back like 50 times.
I never do it again.
But I wouldn't do it
Scout's
this time.
honor!
Trust me, you can trust one thing. I love to be right.
Meh. Can't argue with that. Oh, Pompeii.
Here we go.
He's so excited for this volcano to explode and kill everyone.
This planet. Imagine all that volcanic ash.
I know we don't want to get too giddy.
Oh, come on. It's cool.
No, it is cool, but it's just not good.
Well, we're all going to die anyway.
Now listen,
I wonder if we're gonna run into the doctor and Donna.
variance energy.
Okay.
And pre-doctor.
Yeah, the face of the Capaldi one. And Amy. Amy was technically, well, Karen Gillian. Oh my god, and yet another!
That fucking episode, man. That fucking episode.
Or should I say Nebula?
Let's just make this more complicated, why don't we?
You wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Release the goats!
Free, my home friends, it's free! Mi nomen est Loki, praefectus consilii ad disputantem. Vos omnes, moritori estis, iste mons, ignes, pastos per saecola in vos est, eu homiturus, scio haec esse vera, quod ego de futuris.
It's crazy, boys.
We are from the future, right? What is the TVA? I mean, it's from the future. It sounds from the future. It's pretty futury.
Hey, this is great! We're all gonna die!
Zero variance energy, no branching in the timeline.
Yeah, because he sounded like a fucking madman. Who's gonna believe him?
This is where I
That, and I don't think anybody has any time to get out of there.
They got out of there real quick.
Covers track.
You're welcome any of those disasters could they possibly be?
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
6 hours later. Do people sleep in the TVA?
At your desk, that magazine.
Yeah, the one on jet skis.
Yes. Why'd you have that?
Because they're awesome.
I suppose they are.
Yeah. In the early 1990s, for a brief shining moment, there was a beautiful union of form and function, which we call the jet ski. A reasonable man cannot differ.
Can't argue with that.
Just helps remind me of what we're fighting for.
Jet skis.
I really believe in all this stuff. I don't get hung up on believe, not believe. I just accept what is.
3 magic lizards
Tell me, keepers.
created the TVA, and everyone in it,
Right.
including you,
Including me. Who created you, Loki?
a frost giant of Jotunheim,
And who raised you?
Odin of Asgard.
Odin, god of the heavens, Asgard, mystical realm beyond the stars.
Exactly. Who are you to
It's
point
so-
out that shit?
Well, actually, it's exactly the same thing, because if you think too hard about where any of us came from, who we truly are, it sounds kind of ridiculous. Existence is chaos. Nothing makes any sense, so we try to make some sense of it. And I'm just lucky that the chaos I emerged into gave me all this. My own glorious purpose. And it's real because I believe it's real.
That's a good point.
Fair enough. You and I, here at the TVA, we're the only ones who are actually free.
Where are you going with this, Loki?
Oh, those lazy donkeys, what are they waiting for?
Au contraire. From its infinite
Philosophy majors would be jizzing themselves right now.
When they're finished, what happens then?
So are we.
You know, you called me a scared little boy.
I called you a lot of things.
You did.
Some of which I can't mention on TV at this moment.
See, I know something children don't.
Light bulb.
Very clever.
Clever girl.
I know.
Mmm.
What's that?
Candy. Got candy on Asgard?
Yeah, grapes, nuts.
You're so bitter.
The extinction of the swallow, is that a thing?
Completely screwed up the ecosystem.
Krakatoa erupted in 2049 as well, no kablooey.
God, it's just one damn thing after another, isn't it? Cyclone, famine, volcanoes, God.
Pandemic.
That's where it is.
I think we should go back to Greenbow, Alabama.
Variants.
You I trust, but him?
Listen, Ramona, every instinct is telling me this is where we nail the variant.
You better hope to God you're right.
This worked up, right?
You watch this be another elaborate trick.
Telling you, you actually help us catch this variant, and who knows, friend?
What, good enough for a face-to-face with the timekeepers?
I didn't say that. One step at a time.
Absolutely not. Remember, this is a Class 10 apocalypse. While the variant shouldn't know we're coming, he could be hiding anywhere and should be considered hostile. So stay alert.
Or
At
the
time
variant
there was
is
an attack,
waiting for
the
you to
variant
show up.
steals a reset charge. And if you see a Loki, prune it.
The bad Loki.
Whatever you get to first.
You're in Alabama, fool.
What is this? Is a hurricane? Or...
Yeah.
2050. Very optimistic of them to think in 2050 we'll have holograms like that. Nah.
The hell was that?
That was me. Using magic to dry my clothes. So I don't announce myself with every squeaky footstep like the rest of you.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, Loki and I are going to check out the greenhouse. We'll meet back at the showroom.
No?
You go with D90, he stays with me.
Rita, he's under my supervision.
This is my field, Mobius. You are more than welcome to go back to the TVA and litigate with Renslayer, but right
We're
now...
here. We're not going back. The variant is
No,
here.
it's fine. You can trust me. I understand. I have to earn that.
I see
Why
nothing
is it
going wrong
you
with this
can't
plan.
Trust her? Always saying, trust me.
Ooh.
Well,
You want to play a game?
you totally blew your cover.
Fun. 20 minutes.
I, for one, am glad we're getting to spend this time together. I'm missing, I think, a lot.
I'm expecting zombies to show up any minute.
Kind of feels like
Yeah.
it.
What are you doing?
Shopping for plants.
Are you?
In this storm.
Yeah.
Arcade sale. Sale is a half off.
Retail.
Either he's incredibly stupid or he's obviously lying. Then again, this is Alabama.
Then again, this is retail.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Is he dead?
No, they usually survive.
Usually.
You're the fool the TVA brought in to hunt me down.
Me, I presume.
If anyone's anyone, you're me.
She's doing a good impersonation of him.
Nice to meet you.
No, nice to meet me. And I am the walrus, Cuckoo Cajoo.
Bags for reset charges. Hi, are you guys looking for the disaster shelter?
No.
Is he jumping between people?
Are you going to call your little friends for help?
I was right about different actors playing Loki.
I'm going to overthrow the timekeepers.
Sure you will.
And, cards on the table. I could use a qualified lieutenant. I assume you mean...
The fuck you call me, bitch?
Me. Loki.
Oh, don't call me that. You can call me
That's my slave name.
Randy.
God, no, I understand.
Randy.
So annoying. Listen, enough with your games. I've been trying to help you.
I'm not interested in ruling the Time Variance Authority.
She destroying them?
Call the TVA. Let the infirmary know.
No. I gave it away.
What did you give away?
The timekeepers, where they are. I gave it away how to find them.
Where's your steps?
Oh boy.
I found your hiding place like that. I'd say that makes me the superior Loki, wouldn't you?
Or he let you find him.
That's your plan. Lure us all here so you could blow the place up.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
I miss Randy.
Kind of reminds me of Unity. He jumps between people.
for helping me stall for time. I would never treat me like this. Hi.
Ouch. Interesting product placement. Also, somebody was inspired by Captain America.
Well, he did pretend to be him once.
Yep. That's Asgard's ass. Dude, you have magic. Just use it. Do you still have robo-dogs in the future?
Robo Puppy. Robo Puppy commences 3-hour yipping session.
What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? There you are. Whoa!
This isn't about you.
Sexy girl Loki.
What is it, Rule 42 Loki?
There's a lot of bombs.
Where are they going?
Oh shit. Oh shit. Look at his face.
Somebody just found the sacred timeline.
So I'm guessing they altered a fixed point in time.
I'm guessing our Loki is sending out Ragnaroks across various timeline areas.
Well, look, you gonna do anything? You gotta stand there. You gonna stay or go? Yep. Big shock. I have a theory. I'm pretty sure Mobius is fired.
I think I was fired. I was definitely fired.
Seriously, how do you fuck up that bad? Like, on the one hand, they did actually find the variant. On the other hand, the variant was obviously expecting them. And they managed to take over things really easily. Like, almost scarily easily.
Like I said, I think our AU Loki was already expecting them to show up. So basically, our Loki was a few steps behind.
Like, I wish I could say I expected better, but we know how this would play out.
So you're a variant.
Tell me about that. Well, I can definitely say that was a lot more action-y than the first episode. Definitely a lot more took place.
I mean, yeah, a lot more set up in the first episode and more payoff in this.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Man, the techno jargon is strong in this episode. So much explaining.
So did you ever remember that thing you were trying to remember?
Yeah, I actually was thinking about this, like the whole Nexus thing, because when they mentioned it in the first episode, it was like nagging at me. It's like, I know that word. What is that word from? And then I remembered, finally, we heard it in WandaVision. From what I heard, Wanda herself is considered a Nexus event, which I guess makes sense in the context of, you know, this universe, considering she exists both in two different MCUs. So I don't know whether that's what they mean by that, or the fact that, you know, she created her own pocket universe, which probably exists outside of time, although if that was the case, why would they have allowed it to happen? Whatever. I guess they did a better job of explaining the whole Nexus thing, but I'm still kind of confused. So, what was it? If they go to a big enough event, like a disaster, some fixed point in time, no matter what else they do, nothing can change it, right? Unless it's something, like, substantial.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like, if everybody is supposed to die, they still die. And, like, maybe you can alter a few things about the event, but the outcome is always the same.
Yeah, I've heard that theory before. Was it I think the movie The Time Traveler addressed that, where he, like, the guy tries to go back in time to save his wife from being murdered, but even though he saved her from being shot, she ended up getting run over in the street, and he realized no matter how many times he went back, she would die like 1,000 times, 1,000 different ways. So that makes sense, I guess. But I'm wondering what the hell, for simplicity's sake, we'll just call her AU Loki. I'm wondering what AU Loki did that created all of those really substantial, like, time breakages. Or did they just use the event to disperse all of those like, eraser bombs to, like, different points of time?
That's what I'm thinking could be the case. Basically, sort of the energy of the event.
I hate to say it's interesting, though, that they chose Alabama, of all places, in terms of being affected greatly by a hurricane. Like, I know Alabama is within the region that often gets hurricanes, but when you compare it to the likes of, like, Florida, Louisiana, for Alabama to be that one big, like, catastrophic event is kind of, like, weird to me.
Who knows? I mean, it could just be the geography of that particular area in Alabama just is ripe for being obliterated by a hurricane of that magnitude.
Still doesn't make sense to me, though, because it's, what, 2050 by that point? Like, we already have sophisticated weather tracking technology as it is. You mean to tell me that they couldn't have gotten their shit together by that point in order to evacuate everybody from the area knowing that a hurricane that extreme was coming? I mean, come on.
Look who our world leaders are in this point in time.
I'd like to think we get better, goddammit. Excuse me for trying to be optimistic. Yeah. I love how Loki keeps trying to fuck with everyone in this episode. Because, like, you know he's doing his damnedest to, like, get out of this, or at least get his way over to, like, the Time Lords to, like, I guess take over. Like, I'm taking him at his word that he said he wants to take over and rule, but I feel like he probably just more or less wants to, like, have them just send it back. Because really, does he think he's gonna be able to overthrow those guys? He can barely get one over on the lower tier people. I don't know. Like, I know he has a whole disproportionate sense of grandeur when it comes to himself and his abilities, but, like, you think he'd know better than to actually try to take on the leaders.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Loki is the kind of person that bites off more than he can chew frequently.
I figured as much, but I figured this, like, would be a bit too much for him, and he might realize it after a certain point. I guess he was relying on his alternate self to actually be willing to help himself in order to pull that off, thinking he might actually have a chance. And I gotta say that this show really likes waxing poetic and philosophies and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I love dialogue like that when it's written well and when it's delivered well by the actors. And they did a great job with this. But it kind of adds to the confusion of everything, though, because it's like, I just want a straightforward answer into how this particular timeline works. What would happen if this were to happen? And then we're getting, like, this whole big fucking metaphor about salad and the end of the world and yada yada yada.
I mean, is the Time Variance Agency affected in any way by these splitting timelines other than, you know, their own interference or lack thereof in these, variant timelines. It seems like they operate completely differently, and nothing really seems to be affected in this, particular area. Everything just looks the same, despite the fact that we're actively seeing, branching timelines, and it is in their, job to deal with it, so you think in some way, shape, or form they'd be affected by it. But that doesn't seem to be happening.
I'm guessing they're affected in terms of they get more paperwork to do. There's more soldiers they gotta send out to, right the wrongs that are happening in the time stream.
Who knows? It's like, the branching timelines is already confusing enough, but then you have the whole Time Variance Agency, and that just, it's like how time moves differently there. It's like, I kind of want an explanation, but I feel like my head would hurt.
My head's already hurting, man. I am doing my darndest to understand this. And we've watched Doctor Who. We've watched various, time movies that had different levels of time travel, different methods and stuff, and I'm really trying to follow this, and I kind of do, but it's still a little early where I can't fully wrap my head around it, because it feels like every time you think you understand it, something happens to suddenly throw it off balance, and it's like,
Time travel is frustrating.
Yep, that should be number one. So I guess the question now is, what is AU Loki's, ultimate plan exactly? Because I know they obviously don't want to take over the TVA and run the whole time stream and everything. So my only guess at this point is that they want to destroy it. I'm guessing maybe their own timeline got so fucked up and they lost everything so hard that their only solution is to destroy everything just so they don't feel anything anymore.
To just ultimately have simultaneous Ragnaroks throughout the timeline that ultimately decimate it.
Honestly, it's the only motivation I could see making sense for the villain in this, because we know Loki loves chaos. We know he will try to align himself with whatever the greater evil is if it benefits him. But if his alternate self is hell-bent on destroying time in general, thus including himself, it makes sense that would give him someone easily to turn against, because how can he be chaotic if he doesn't exist?
Or perhaps the chaos is right there. Maybe it's to mix up timelines to just cause general chaos throughout every timeline. Mix and match your time and just have nothing make sense anymore.
I'm trying to think of what show I saw where this popped up, where time got all messed up and suddenly random things started appearing. Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted.
Yeah, where random people and monuments throughout time just started showing up in the one timeline before it got fixed. I'm thinking of that.
I don't think it's just Bill and Ted where that's happened.
I know, but that's the only thing I can think come to mind with that.
That is a good example.
Also, was it just me, or was AU Loki kind of flirting with himself?
I wouldn't be surprised.
No matter who they kept jumping to, they had this flirtation about them, trying to be smarmy to each other, and I'm just is he gonna fuck himself? Would he fuck himself? Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
I mean, let's face it, Loki is that much of a narcissist.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even doubt for a second he would.
Probably would be the only one he would consider. Oh god, if that happens the next one, dear god, the fanfickers and fan artists are gonna have a fucking field day. That'll be the Nexus event.
Be dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
That is a pretty cool power they have, though, that they can just jump from person to person with a touch. It reminds me of the Mind Stone, how you can just, control anybody by touching them, but in this case you're, embodying them.
She might be using the power of the Mind Stone in that way to jump from person to person.
Well, no, because remember when Loki used the Mind Stone in Avengers, whenever somebody got brainwashed, their eyes would turn yellow. In this case, their eyes turned green. which, you know, doesn't quite make sense in terms of the stones, because green is the time stone, so how would that work? Again,
I'm just saying anything's possible. I mean, after all, space is warped and time is bendable.
True that. I think my favorite scene has got to be him showing up in Pompeii and just going batshit crazy. Like doomsayer, tinfoil hat, the end is near type, like nobody gives a shit. He's like, look, I can make a scene of myself and nobody cares. I can totally spoil everything that's gonna happen and nothing's gonna change. And the whole time he's just so giddy, like the volcano's exploding in the background. He's like, this is awesome.
He thrives on chaos. What do you want?
I just love that joy in his face when he's doing chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm starting to see why girls are so fucking attracted to him. Like, seeing him in his element, like... And honestly, that jacket suits him. Also, I kind of feel bad for Mobius, but I kind of don't. Because it's like... I feel bad because he's trying to put his faith in Loki, thinking that he actually will turn himself around and prove himself an ally and so forth. But at the same time, it's like, he's the god of mischief. You said yourself that he's betrayed everybody he's ever known at least 50 times over. And you're really staking, like, your name, your reputation, your job, all on the fact that he's gonna come through for you. I mean, he may very well, you know, considering he followed the other AU Loki into wherever they went, so stands to reason he'd be the one to help reset things once he finds out what their true plan is. But at the same time, I'm like, Mobius, I expected better of you. I don't know why, but I expected better of you. You think we'll see the time lizards at any point?
Who knows? We may not be supposed to see them.
You watch, they show up in, like, the very, like, end credit scene as part of, like, something else, and it'll be, like, really freaking obvious who they're supposed to be.
That, or, you know, Loki does indeed meet with them and gets the timeline reset or rebooted so that he can have, you know, a whole new adventure.
True. You know what I'm half expecting, like, in South Park, when God finally arrives on Earth to reveal himself to everyone, he's like this weird hybrid monster, and everyone's like, he's like, what did you expect? Well, not for you to look like that. And if they make them like actual lizards, I think that'll be hilarious. You watch all through, like, the Geico Gecko.
Oh, God.
So yeah, this is gonna be fun. I'm calling it right now. We got 2 Lokis and one who is even more chaotic and insane than the other one. The potential of those 2, like, I look forward to their dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's gonna be gold. I'm calling it right now. Mm-hmm. And I was right by saying that Loki would be played by more than one actor. And I think some of them did a pretty good job mimicking his expressions, especially what's her name, who works for the TVA. Like, she had his whole smirk and everything, his body stance and all that, and I'm like, wow, you are really good. I almost expected at first that it was going to be revealed that she was the other Loki all along, and she had just infiltrated the TVA, but that
would be too obvious.
Yeah, plus there could have been multiple times where she could have, you know, done stuff. But it still was a nice little twist there. So until next time, where hopefully another giant disaster doesn't happen that, you know, creates even more time variance, I'm Kat MacBerrie.
I'm Doug MacBerrie.
And who wants a salad? Here, let me just say something for you. You don't make friends with salad people.
Don't make friends.